undesirable femcells.
And somebody gotta say it, the only people that are still breeding and having kids and procreating are slow people. You gotta be slow. That's the only explanation I can think of. Either you're slow, you're delusional, you live in some type of delusional la-la land. I don't know, you don't have no type of situational awareness. It gotta be something, arrested development, male-centeredness, something.
Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. You can support uncensored conversations via Cashapp or buying your girl a coffee. Y'all, we have this epidemic of loser broads getting online and sharing their loser broad opinions. And this is just one drop in the bucket. Now, being one of those people that she's calling slow, that want to have children and continue to have children, I do feel very qualified to speak on this topic.
And somebody gotta say it, the only people that are still breeding and having kids and procreating are slow people. You gotta be slow. That's the only explanation I can think of. Either you're slow, you're delusional, you live in some type of delusional la-la land. I don't know, you don't have no type of situational awareness. It gotta be something, arrested development, male-centeredness, something. And that's why I think the world will never change, because there will always be people to continue the cycle. There will always be poor people continuing the cycle. There will always be traumatized people continuing the cycle. There will always be male-centered women continuing the cycle. And like I said, slow people, because slow people don't think ahead of anything. Intelligence be chasing them, but they're just too damn fast. Y'all be doing exactly what the government want us to do, to continue to have kids, to continue procreating, so the cycle can continue and nothing will ever change. As long as we keep having kids, nothing will ever change. Y'all are giving them exactly what they want. But who cares? Who cares? You know, who cares? Y'all want a mini-me.
Does she not realize that if people just stop having kids, the world's just gonna end? That just means the end of the human race. Like, it's not that that's going to somehow fix the problem. It's just going to annihilate everybody. The elite will continue to have their families, their legacies, people like her, lineages like hers, and maybe this would be a good thing if she just did not procreate. Hopefully she hasn't. Everybody else would just die off. That is not a real plan. That is just a loser, I give up plan. I can't even call that a plan. It's just throwing in the towel. I always find it very funny when people try to insult the intelligence of others, but then the point that they make is just ludicrous and ridiculous. If you only had another brain cell to rub against that singular brain cell that you have, you might have came up with a better conclusion, with a better video, with a better topic, with more nuance. However, the internet gives a microphone to everybody. The intelligent people, the average intelligence people, and then slow people like this. What this heifer fails to realize is that the government wants depopulation. And I've talked about this several times on the channel. It's not that it's a secret either. Bill Gates has come out multiple times talking about how the population on the earth needs to decrease, how they need to get rid of people. So she's falling into the very hand that she's claiming that we are falling into by having children. See, this is what I'm talking about. She got on here loud and wrong, trying to insult somebody's intelligence, but she's the very dumbass falling for the plan set out by people like Bill Gates to get folks to stop having children, because they understand, just like I understand, because we outnumber them, their ticket is just waiting to be punched. The moment we, the masses, realize the power that we have over the elite, because they are so small, there's such a fraction of the population that is us regular schmegular folks, they understand like I understand. The moment everybody were to wake up and say our problems exist because of y'all, they'd be doomed.
There was that ant that stood up to me.
Yeah, but we can forget about him.
Yeah, it was just one ant.
Say, let's pretend this brain is a puny little ant. Did that hurt?
Nope.
How about this?
They would absolutely be doomed. But idiots like this broad think that they have it all figured out. They've allowed the feminism to just flood their brain. They've allowed the elitist propaganda that she's claiming to be so against, that she's claiming she hasn't fallen victim to. But really, she's exactly their perfect candidate. No effort into oneself, as we can see. A femcel, clearly. Even further, spreading the idea of not having children, of lowering the population. Yeah, they want you to keep having babies. Problem ain't gonna ever get fixed if we just keep having babies. Guess what? If everyone just stops having babies, the human race would just cease to exist. That's not a real solution. That's like somebody rage quitting and then just unplugging the console from the wall. That's not a real solution. That's not sticking it out and trying to fix the problem. That is not the process of overcoming. This is loser babble. And I want you guys to recognize it every single time you see it. Anytime you see this type of nihilistic point of view, perspective, that is also the perspective of a fucking loser. Only losers say, just throw it all away, just end it all. That is loser behavior. It is the definition of loser behavior. Because winners, they don't give up. They keep fighting. Even if they get knocked down, even if they lose a round, they don't go out for the count. Like, they get back up and they keep fighting. And if it is truly your desire to fix the problems of the earth, the last thing you'd want to do is to just throw in the towel and say, well, let's just all stop making babies. Let's just stop here. The human race doesn't have to exist. Because guess who will continue to have babies? The elite. So when they depopulate the earth and it's no longer the masses versus them, they've kind of evened the playing field a little bit. That's when they truly win. They don't win if we continue to have our beautiful children and instill in them that fighter spirit, instill in them financial literacy, set them up to succeed. They don't win when we do that, but they surely do win when you buy into that propaganda of offing your own babies or having frivolous sex with everybody, but not committing to having a family. They truly do win when bird brain heifers like this spread this type of propaganda that solving the problem is somehow giving up. Like, we solve the problem by just dying off. That's so stupid and short-sighted. Of course, undesirable broads will spread messages like this to other undesirable broads. That's how it goes. The losers of the earth, they just love to spew their losery, and other losers sit and cheer it on. They cheer on the fact that they're losers, and then they try to shame the rest of us who are winners, who are at least trying to win, who haven't given up. They want to shame us because it makes them feel better about being a loser. Don't fall for it. People have been having babies since before we even had technology like this to level the playing field in so many different ways. There were times that were way more difficult than what we're dealing with right now. Talking about famine, crusades, all sorts of crazy stuff. We are living in a very cushy time. Convenience, honestly, is the death of us, but we have a lot of convenience in this lifetime. And even with all those conveniences, you have losers just coming out in droves. Like, it's insane to me. Isn't that what they say? Soft times create soft men, and then soft broads as well. There were harder times in the past, and people still didn't give up and just stop having children.
People be in my comments saying stupid shit like, the world has always been terrible. That don't mean people should just stop having kids. The world has always been unsafe, but that don't mean people should just stop having kids. And they see nothing wrong with what they just said. What's y'all obsession with bringing kids into an unsafe environment? I will never understand. The education system is crumbling, but that don't mean people should just stop having kids. Women are still fighting for basic human rights, but that don't mean people should just stop having kids. Kids die in school, but that don't mean people should just stop having kids. Those are the same dummies that if the government were to let everybody know that an asteroid was going to destroy the earth in like 5 to 10 years, they would still get pregnant and have kids. Oh, the world is going to end, but that don't mean people should just stop having kids. At this point, it's just too many of y'all that have breeding kinks. That's all it is. Y'all have breeding kinks, and I don't kink shame, but bringing humans into your kinks is, I just want y'all to admit that y'all don't actually care about those kids. Y'all just want to fulfill some delusional fantasy in your head.
Like I said, loser behavior. That is a loser's mindset. See, well, there's no guarantee. Losers want a guarantee because they don't want to have to work for anything. They don't want to have to put in that work for something to go their way. If it doesn't go their way just because and they just showed up, you know, that participation trophy nonsense, we shouldn't even try. I don't know why you guys want to try. All of this is loser behavior. There's no guarantee that the kids are gonna be fine. There's no guarantee. Well, yeah, there's no guarantee with anything. There's no guarantee. But that doesn't mean you don't fight. That doesn't mean you don't come up and fight for a better chance or fight for a better life. This is the loser TikTok, the loser side of TikTok. See, the world's so terrible. I don't know why you guys want to bring people into this world. It's so terrible. I understand. Sometimes it can be daunting. I know I've said that on the channel before. I don't know what type of world the world is going to be, but guess what? I'm not raising losers, okay? I'm not going to raise losers. They're going to have a fighting chance because I'm going to make sure I instill in them the skills to have a fighting chance. It's not a guarantee, but guess what? We're going to still try because we haven't given up. This is waving the white flag. I hope you guys understand that. This is what waving the white flag looks like. I'm a loser, so I'm just going to give up. And hopefully she does not have any children because this loser behavior, it would just get passed down generation to generation. Maybe your lineage should stop with you. Maybe it should. If only she had more than one brain cell to rub together, then she would see the flaw in everything that she just said here. It's almost like the human race is just so smart that they're dumb because the one thing every organism, for the most part, I'm sure there's some botanist or some zoologist that wants to come in and say, well, actually, Sandra, this one animal... For the most part, all animals seek to survive. For the most part, obviously, there's probably some obscure animal that just doesn't give a fuck and wants to die. I don't know. But for the most part, animals and plants and insects, they all know the assignment. And the assignment is to reproduce. The assignment is to survive. But for some reason, when it comes to humans, they don't have that survival instinct of wanting to live long, fruitful lives and share that with their offspring and procreate. Every other species, whether it's plant, insect, or animal, understands that procreating is the goal. That's like the one thing. That's why you believe in God, or if you just believe in science, that's why it's supposed to feel so good to make them babies. They make it feel so good for a reason because they want you to do it often. If having kids was supposed to be this just terrible thing, understand it wouldn't feel so good to make them. The internet is for everyone, even if it should be regulated. No, I'm just kidding. It should still be for everyone because guess what? I have content because of stupid people. So shout out to all the stupids out there. There have been worse times and people still manage to procreate and have children. And those children, in a lot of different circumstances, were able to go on to do better things, go on to build legacy, go on to make it so that the rest of the lineage can do well. But that's a winner's mindset. We have our children, we instill in them everything that we've learned so they can do better than what we did and better continuing on down the lineage so that my great grandbabies are good. They never have to worry about a damn thing in their life because we set that foundation. Now, having a winner's mentality doesn't mean you're always going to win. Being a winner involves a lot of losing, but not having a loser's mentality, not having a poor mentality. But y'all, I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. How do you feel about this video? Do you agree with me where it's like this loser broad is just coping online and trying to recruit other losers to hype her up and make her feel validated in her losery? Or do you disagree with me where it's like, no, we should all just stop having kids and let the human race die out because my life sucks, so I just want it all to end for everybody? I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. If you like the video, like the video. The more you interact with it, the more it gets pushed down to the algorithm. Also, hype the video if that function is available. And if you're feeling a little extra generous, the link is in the description to buy your girl a coffee. Thank you guys so much, and I will see y'all with the next one. Deuces.